Today, I am in central Idaho, chasing elk. We are here in the very beginning of the rut, in a zone we've never hunted before. We're gonna hike our butts off, get into a couple scary situations, but hopefully we can make it happen.
They say you can't be perfect, but they don't say you can't be the best. This is
Derkle Outdoors.
Now that I'm here and looking, it always changes everything.
As soon as we got to the trailhead, we got our stuff out and we got ready to hike into camp. Alright guys, we're about to head up on our hike up to the trailhead. Got my face paint on. A long time of planning has been building up to this moment. We're finally up here. Truck's all good. Got everything sitting here. And we're ready to go. So our spot, I'm not really sure actually, but we're gonna get up here. We got a lot of uphill hiking. Our packs are heavy. We're ready for anything to happen. We've checked, double checked, triple checked everything. So any circumstance, we should hopefully be good. So we gotta start our hike up there. Let's do this. We're heading up a pretty steep mountain right now. It's really tall. Elevation up here right now is probably about 8,000. Top of the mountain's probably close to 10. It's pretty tall. Rugged mountains in here, you can see. We got 4 tags going into this. All of them are either sex. The ultimate goal is to get one. If we can bring something home, then we'll have accomplished our purpose, but hopefully we can get 4 animals. They don't gotta be bulls, they can be anything. But it's gonna be tough in here. This terrain is really rugged, as you can see right now. As the time progressed, it got smokier and smokier from the nearby fires. We eventually made it to the top, and since the smoke was making it really hard to glass, and we were in a brand new area, I decided to rip off a bugle. With no responses, we tried glassing with what little visibility we had, and we continued along the trail. As the smoke kept settling in, we made it to the top of our basin.
Holy cow, this looks good.
I think in this moment, because of the smoke, we couldn't quite understand how jagged this terrain truly was.
Mountain goats over there. Those are big animals.
After seeing those goats for a split second, we went down into the basin. I once again bugled, which we would later learn was not the best strategy for this time of the season. Darkness was slowly encroaching on us, so as we got down the basin a little bit further, we set up our camp next to some water.
It's like this whole cabin here. It's cool. Got broken. There's a clock. Chimney. This is really old. Well, guys, we found our spot. We want to set up camp for the night. We got a water supply. We're in an area where we can have easy access to some important spots. It's definitely going to be a hoof to get back out of here. But we're trying not to think about that right now.
Din is on its way. We got chicken and mashed potatoes for Dad, and chicken fried rice for me. So hopefully it's good. It's getting a little chilly, so I'm gonna go grab a sweatshirt.
I think we can still get a response. It's just not gonna be as many. We just have to keep working.
First thing in the morning, we split up. Me and my dad went up the higher side of the basin, and our friends stayed down on the lower side. And after a few hours of hiking, we finally got into the open and we saw an elk on the other side.
On the right, it's right out in the open. I think it's a big bull. There's an elk and it's a bull.
The elk was still over a mile away, and we still had a long ways to go, so we continued down the basin.
But there's a little oak rub tree. This kind of sucks.
Filling lunch right now. Got some tuna, and we're filling up the waters.
We also found a grouse, so I decided to take a shot at it. And I was too close, so I missed just over its back.
Oh, I hit its back. All right, guys, we're all done with lunch.
You're starting to pack everything up.
I got more face paint on now, and we're gonna head up, make a move on those elk, I think. I'm not actually sure what our plan is, but we're gonna make it happen.
We ended up setting our camp not far from where we just had lunch, because it was pretty close to the base of the hill where the elk were.
Make this happen or blow it up, and then have an evening plan. Sit somewhere.
We couldn't think of a great plan since it was midday, but me and my dad decided to go straight up the hill and stay in the timber and hopefully sit and wait and see if any elk make any movement. The thing we didn't realize, though, is that seconds after I record this, we would run into something.
Oh, dang it.
I was just ever so slightly standing outside the tree line, and he was on to us. We tried calling a little bit and seeing what they would do, but there was no fixing it, and they ran away. It ended up being 3 bulls, not just the one, and they were all fairly small, but still, they were elk, and we had spooked them.
Dang it. That's so stupid.
There were 270 out there.
We hiked up above where the elk were, and we sat for a while until it got closer to evening.
Well, guys, we've been sitting here since about 3. It's about 6 now. We think that the elk are gonna come out and feed in here tonight. That's where we saw them this morning. This is just where we were kind of sleeping. We're gonna move spots to a different location, so hopefully we can have a better view of them. And we don't know what we're gonna do if they actually come out of there, but hopefully they do, so we can shoot one. Let's do it.
In hindsight, this sit was kind of pointless, especially considering the fact that we had already scared the elk out of there, but we sat until it started to get dark out, and we made our way back down to camp.
We made it down this steep, crazy thing. This is me staring like straight forward, so. We're probably still less than a half mile from our camp, but still a little bit light out. We didn't see nothing. We're gonna head back.
That ended up being our whole night, so we made it back to camp and went down to the creek to get water for dinner.
It doesn't show you.
What are you recording then?
I don't know. Oh, there.
Well, there's definitely elk in here.
Yeah.
We got some lasagna tonight and some beef stew. Hopefully it's nice and yummy.
Yep. You are? Alright guys, it's the morning now. It's full second day. I think our plan is to go do a sit maybe. I'm not actually sure what our plan is. There's a lot of action yesterday. Well, not a lot, but we got into some elk. So that's good. Good for today. Hopefully we can make it happen. We woke up a little bit late, but it turned out to be just fine because we didn't have to break camp down or anything. But yeah, we're gonna head out. Let's do this.
Our plan was to go back up to the same spot where we had seen the bulls and hope that something else came back.
We're up on the same mountain where we saw the elk yesterday and where we sat yesterday as well. There's a bunch of sign in here. There's just no way that more elk can be in here. But right now we're just gonna glass on the other side of this draw. Zach and Nick are sitting down on some wallows right now where they had some action yesterday, so hopefully there's some elk in here we can get into.
We slowly meandered our way through the sagebrush where we had seen the elk yesterday with no luck, so we continued along the hillside. Since we were already up there, we continued up into a lesser basin that fed into the much larger basin, and there was a bunch of wallows and elk sign in there.
Let's sit here for a little bit. Back out to this tree,
The area we were in just gave us the feeling that there were elk there, so we sat for a while. As we waited, some clouds started to move in, and we got a little bit of rain. But after waiting, nothing showed up, so we moved on and headed back down to the bottom of the basin.
Camp is all broke down. We are now going to head on down the trail for our next spot for camp. Let's do it.
We continued our great migration up the giant basin along the major trail that was in the bottom of it. It took the better part of our afternoon, and we even had an encounter that we thought was an elk, but it ended up just being a deer. Finally, after making it up the basin, we set up our camp, and just as we did so, it started to rain. Alright guys, we let the rain pass a little bit. It's still fairly cloudy out, but we're gonna head up this mountain over here to up kind of a drainage to a spot at the top that looks like some wallows, some greener stuff. Hopefully the elk are in there. As soon as we started up the hill, we had some action. We had walked a little bit too far, and the bull had seen us. He was on the edge of the trees, and we never saw him get up and leave. So we decided to get back into the line of trees, and hopefully we could call him in or do something that was better than standing in the open. We waited for a little bit, but ultimately we figured that the bull had probably left. Almost as soon as we started going up the hill again, we ran into another elk. We had stopped to just get a sip of water, and she had walked just up the hill from us, but she never looked our way and continued walking. We continued up the hill, slowly working through different meadows until we got to the very top, where it was very windy and we could see the very tall peaks around us. However, regardless of how good it looked, there were no elk there. So, as darkness quickly approached us, we went back down to our tent. While the night started off fairly tame, we were quickly approached by some clouds. That's crazy. Holy cow. Thinking that it was just some simple lightning, we made our dinner and crawled into our tents at the perfect time before we were faced with the most torrential downpour I've ever experienced.
That's aggressive.
Well guys, that's gonna do it for today. Just had that crazy hailstorm and lightning storm, but it's time to go to bed. We're gonna end up heading to the truck at some point tomorrow. Not really sure what our plan is, but we're gonna figure it out. Hopefully we can fit an elk in there somewhere too. But today was pretty good. Towards the end, definitely made it better. If we hadn't seen those elk, today would have kind of been sucky. So, see you guys in the morning.
Yep.
At the time of that last clip, we thought the rain had passed, but it continued to downpour throughout the night.
Well guys, we were just laying here and we noticed the rain. We're laying in a lake right now. I put my tarp down because my bag was getting soaked. Like, we're literally in a river.
You guys awake over there?
So that's fun. Well guys, it is the morning now after that crazy rainstorm. But we're hoping the rain is gonna help the elk out today. But either way, we gotta get back to the truck at some point today because we're out of food. We didn't pack for more nights than this. So we're gonna head back. And hopefully we can get some action along the way.
Me and my dad decided to go off on a little tangent to go up and check out some more wallows. We also saw a deer way on the other side of the basin. We also saw a couple grouse, but they looked to be just juveniles, so we passed them.
We just stumbled into a bear, guys.
We continued on and kept finding really fresh sign until we made it to the edge of this opening and we realized there were elk bedded on the other side. We watched for a little bit and realized it was a calf and a cow. We weren't really sure if we wanted to try and take a cow, so we decided to try and back out and move. But as soon as we did, there was a loud thundering and we saw a bunch of elk run away. Once the whole herd started running, we realized there was a lot more elk than we could initially see, and we knew that there was a bull with them. We continued to bugle back and forth with this bull, and we got a bunch of responses from him. We kept bugling back and we kept closing the distance.
Well guys, that wasn't successful, but we did get some action. That bull he was close. If he was probably a little bit more aggressive a little bit later in the season, he might have come in, but it's crazy how close we walked to those deer, or those elk, without spooking them. We walked almost within shooting range of them around that meadow, and they still, but once we were in view of them, they were onto us and they got the heck out of there. So we're just gonna continue moseying back. Hopefully we can find more, because there's gotta be more in here.
Zach and Nick had gotten a little bit of a head start, so from there, it was just climbing out of the basin.
This is pretty crazy terrain though. Alright guys, we're taking a quick break before we do the full hike out of here. We're not really sure what the plan is once we get back to the truck. That's definitely something we're gonna have to figure out. But we had to shed a couple layers because it's getting hot. We got like 4, maybe 3.5 miles back to the truck on the trail. But yeah, pretty tired, but we still got the motivation. So, quick snack break, then we're gonna continue up the trail.
This is tough, guys. This stuff, not fun. But we still got a little bit to go. So how'd the morning go for you guys?
We had a close down.
Well guys, we're officially starting our descent. Feels a lot better than the ascent of the mountain, but we're all heading down now.
We're about 3/4 of a mile from the truck, guys. Only a little bit more to go. Well, guys, we are back to the truck. My phone says we've done 6.3 miles today and we climbed 78 floors. So it's pretty good. We're just kind of unraveling right now. We're gonna eat some food and then we're gonna figure out our next game plan. But it feels really good to be down here.
After making some food, we decided to go back down the dirt road and explore some of the other land that this area had to offer closer to the road. We covered a lot of ground, but with the smoky hue and hiking through the very thick burn scar, it was really hard to get any motivation, as well as not seeing much sign. The area wasn't very good. So, as the sun set, we started walking back. We did end up finding some super fresh tracks, and when we made it back to the truck, my dad ran into a moose.
Give them an update on what just happened.
Holy cow, we were tracking what we thought were bull tracks. Well, they were just bull moose. We stumbled into them about 15 yards away, bedded down.
But there's still more cow tracks in there.
So, we're gonna keep going on.
Well, guys, nothing tonight. Just that moose encounter at the very end. I didn't get it on video, but that thing was really close and scared us. Yeah, so no elk for tonight, but we're gonna get into him tomorrow. I can feel it. I can feel it. Yeah, why don't we just, Well, guys, we just heard a bunch of bugles, right? And since we had split up, we thought it was our comrades. But we got up on the trail and we ran into them, so that means that was not bugles from us. So we're gonna go down there and we're gonna bugle at that bull, hopefully. And they said they heard cow calls because they thought it was us bugling. So it's good. We're gonna get down there to a different spot. We're gonna call this bull in. Let's do it.
The bull started getting loud and we could hear several other cows calling, so we continued up the trail hoping to get into a good position. We continued moving closer and closer. We eventually got off the trail and started heading up the side of the mountain he was on.
Bugle. On top of it, quick.
We kept going from tree to tree and calling, and each time he sounded like he was more aggressive, but for some reason he sounded like he was moving away. So we continued up the hill after him. We continued up until we got to the edge of a spot that was really open.
There's two of them.
And then, after moving ever so carefully up until this point, we got caught out in the open. A spike had walked from the line of trees you can see in the back, and I was moving towards that tree just in front of me when they appeared. Obviously, I didn't want to move and spook them off, so I held absolutely still. Knowing what I know now, I should have shot this bull. But I could not reach for my rangefinder, in my mind, without scaring him, and I wasn't comfortable with just ranging it based off of my perception, so I never shot. After I totally thought he had us pinned, the spike continued walking down the hill, but that was just round one. The second spike that was with him followed the same path the other one did, But this Spike was a lot more attentive. He walked out a little bit, but before he did, I scooted up a little bit closer to the tree when there was no elk looking at me. But once he got out there, he fed a little bit, put his head up, and something happened where he just spotted us. He didn't run away, but he decided he didn't want to be there anymore, and he walked back into the trees. This whole ordeal was about a half hour of us standing completely still, so once they left, we caught our breath, took a break, and decided to go back to trying to track down those bulls. We simply looked up the hill from where we were and saw a bunch of cows feeding up the hill. Until finally the bull popped out.
Well guys, the elk have quit responding. So we're gonna head out for right now and wait until later, closer to evening, when they're possibly gonna be more active. Because there's a bunch in here. There's a lot of sign, and we have a vague idea of where they could be bedded. So we're gonna try and not bump them. Come back later.
Well guys, we are back at camp. We got a little breakfast skillet. Dad's gonna cook some coffee. I had some hot chocolate this morning in that, and it's pretty good. We're gonna figure out what our plan is. Our comrades are still out right now, and they said on the walkie that they were in some, so they might have some success. Who knows? But that's what we're doing right now. It's about 10:30, I believe. So yeah.
We then took a little trip into the town near our hunting grounds that was only about 45 minutes away, got some much needed food items, and then went back to our camp for the evening hunt. While I was sitting at camp, I was looking up at the hillside, and I noticed the giant herd of elk was on the move. So we decided to make a plan. Zach and Nick were going to bonsai up the mountain and get in front of the direction that they were walking, and we were going to stay at the bottom and watch until we decided to make our move and go up after them.
We're about to head out. See if we can find any stragglers and possibly make a play on these elk up here. Who knows? It's gonna depend on what those guys do with this group, but we saw there were more stragglers up in these hills still, so there's still elk up here. This place is actually really cool because there's a bunch of abandoned mine shacks like this one. Our wind's really bad right now, guys. We're sneaking up to the spot where we gathered the spikes earlier. But our wind's blowing like straight up, so it's not very good. Not really sure what to do.
We continued up towards the same spot we were at this morning and kept seeing an abundance of elk sign, but we could not see any of the elk we had seen from the bottom. At some point we had heard a bunch of elk talking and we tried getting closer to them, but we never ended up seeing anything.
Yeah, they were calling and they were talking, but I think they kept pushing on this way. So I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna head back right now, but yeah, we got into them, but couldn't get any very close tonight. There's still a little bit of time, so it could still happen. We're gonna start walking back.
We actually are getting them to bugle today, which is really awesome. We still have 2 more full days, and I'm still got energy. I'm trying to stay motivated, trying to stay determined. A little defeated after tonight, but hey, we gotta move on. I think we're gonna find them tomorrow still. At least I hope. And yeah, we're gonna make some dinner, and we'll let those elk rest up tonight, and then we'll get them tomorrow, hopefully.
All right, guys, we're heading off on our morning hunt right now. I didn't sleep very well. I had to get up and pee a bunch, and it was really cold. But Dad's getting ready to go. We're about to head out to our spot we were gonna go to yesterday. There's elk back up in the same spot we saw him yesterday. So Dad's glassing him right now.
The plan for today was to go to a small lake we had wanted to go to for a while. We also stumbled on to a relatively old mining operation with a cabin and an outhouse, and we could see a bunch of carvings into the side of the mountain where the carts had been going for the mining operation. When we were looking up the mountain, we also saw some goats up there, which was pretty cool.
I'm gonna continue on. Hiking through deadfall's the worst, guys. It's such a pain. There's just stuff everywhere. You move so slow. And it's hot because you don't have that shade cover. Whew. Going down to the road right now. That hike was unsuccessful. We have a little bit back, just walking on the road. But yeah.
Later in the day, after we had rested at our camp for a while, me and my dad hiked back up the hill where we had gone the previous day, but we went up in the direction that Zach and Nick had gone. We got up and crested over the hill and glassed the valley for a while that we had hunted the beginning of the weekend valley. We could see a cow elk all the way across the valley. We also found a grouse that took me 2 shots to bring down.
Finally, we got our grouse. There we go. Whew. I hit him the first time with the game point and he got away. So I just used the broadhead. Well guys, it was cool to see that elk over there because that's where we were a couple days ago. But we can't make any moves on it because we just don't have time. I'm going down right now because I lost one of my arrows when I shot that grouse. So we're gonna look for that and then we might make a move on those elk on the face towards the truck. We're gonna figure it out, but we're all good. Got a grouse. Well guys, we're at about 9,800 feet. In this spot we think the elk are is about 200 yards away. They might not be in there, but it's a good chance they are. So we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do right now. We're sneaking down right now, guys. Nothing yet. It's really pretty out right now. About a half hour until shoot time's over. There's nothing up here. Just a lot of sign. So we're gonna start heading down. It's getting dark. We don't want to be up here. Hiking in the woods in the dark sucks. We saw a big buck, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, we're gonna start heading down the mountain. We got a lot of downhill. Still making our way down the mountain. That's pretty cool. It's really pretty out right now.
She's like, will you help me raise my kids?
Oh, there they go. Well guys, I couldn't record me cutting up the grouse, but this is the breast and legs and heart all cut up. Chili with like dog chops up in it. Not jog, like hot dogs. And yeah, we're cooking this right now with some red pepper flakes, black pepper, salt, kind of just an assortment of stuff we keep in a little plastic baggie. And yeah. Well guys, that is gonna wrap it up for tonight. We had that grouse and that really good dinner tonight, but this is our last night here, so gonna hit the hay. Gonna come up with something to do tomorrow. Probably an easier little hike in the morning, because we're hoping to get her out of here around midday, because it's gonna take us a while to get home. So we'll get home like past midnight if we leave at midday. So yeah, so it's pretty cold out. I'm in a good mood. I'm gonna go to bed. See you guys in the morning. Well, we're off, guys, on our last go of the trip. We're just gonna do a short sit where we've had a bunch of action. There's not a lot of stuff we can really do from the trailhead. We've gone to a lot of places, so yeah, we're just heading out there right now. We hiked up to this little lake along the trail, and you know, there's not a whole lot of spots around here that we haven't gone to by the trailhead, but there's some spots, some meadows that we're gonna walk through, and they're gonna take us right back to the truck. They look good, so there's a chance for stuff to be in there.
Right after we got to our first meadow, right after this clip you're seeing now is recorded, we noticed something walking through the field.
Guys, we literally, as soon as I got done recording, we saw an elk. They're out. That's right to him right now at the spike, and there's something else in there.
They were just out of range, and they slowly trickled into the meadow in front of us, with more and more of them popping out. But we didn't have any spot we could easily sneak to without risking spooking them. We held still for a while, making sure we didn't spook them, until finally we decided to make the decision to try and crawl forward. I got to a spot where I totally thought they were within range, but my eyes were deceiving me as I ranged them at 90 yards. After we sat there for a while knowing we couldn't get any closer, the elk slowly worked their way out of the meadow and into the trees. We tried sneaking along the tree line to intercept them.
Guys, we were just walking, and right before it happened, I was like, I'm going too fast. I need to stop walking so fast. And then we spooked him. Spooked an elk by 50 yards. Just up and down the way. Alright, guys, well, it's pretty frustrating. We got in there, we just spotted the cows. They had no idea we were there. The cow called a little bit, snuck out. Two of the groups kind of spread out. One group went this way. Knowing what we know now, we could have easily went around the back of that hill, popped down on top, got them. But the closest we snuck to was like 90 yards. They just looked so big, I thought I could have a shot, but 90's too far. Yep, and then they all went up into the trees. They didn't see us, and we walked over there. We spooked them. And then there was the one cow at 50, but she had way too many trees in front of her. I couldn't take that shot. So, I'm just gonna keep working back. It's pretty frustrating though. Last ditch effort, and we still have some action, so, yep. They call these sag bones. What does that mean? Or the sagged away, creating like a lake.
And sadly, we did have to leave, so that was our last attempt at those elk.
Well, guys, that is the end of the video. We got really close at the end there to those elk, but in the end, we just couldn't make it happen. But it's all right. We're gonna head home. It's almost 12 o'clock, but I really hope you guys enjoyed. We put a darn ton of effort into this hunt, and we hiked just upwards of 40 miles in 6 days. So that's pretty good. I know that some people probably hike more, but this terrain's pretty rugged for us. So it's definitely a huge learning experience, and just an all-around awesome hunt. I hope you guys enjoyed. Catch you guys on the next one.
If you thought the adventure ended right there, you're wrong. A couple weeks later, we went back for just a weekend to hopefully get some more action. And while we were up there, we ran into a lot of elk. You're going to have to stay tuned so I can edit this one together. But I'm telling you, this next adventure is going to be even better than this one.
Subscribe to Derkle Outdoors for more content like this. Bye bye.